So hello and welcome to another Valorant video. Today we are going to be talking about why I am worried about Neon, and it's probably not for the reason that you expect. I expect that most of you probably think what I'm about to say is things like, oh, Neon, some of Neon's abilities will be overpowered, or Neon as another duelist will mean that people are going to insta-lock Reyna, Jet, and Neon in a lot of games, and it's going to be hell to play because everyone's just playing duelists. That one actually might be true, but that's not either what I'm worried about. And I'm not worried. She could be overpowered. She could be underpowered. I have no idea about the power level of Neon, and I don't think we will know until, quite some time into her coming out and, people experimenting and finding out. She'll probably be good on some maps, not as good on others. That's generally how most agents work. So I'm assuming that, that will also be the case. What I'm worried about with Neon is it doesn't really have to do with Neon herself as much as it does Neon in comparison with another agent, because what I am worried about with Neon is that her abilities and Phoenix's abilities are just too close, and they are sharing a similar design space to where it's not going to be a good time for one of them. So what do I mean by them sharing a similar design space? Well, obviously when we go through the different abilities, what I mean is that they're going to be doing a somewhat similar purpose on your team, and so there won't ever really be a need to pick one because the other one will probably just be a superior version of the other. And obviously the most simple and obvious comparison is the fast lane versus Phoenix's Blaze. Obviously the fast lane is basically two walls and Phoenix's is one wall, and that one was very clear from the offset. Everyone initially when they saw that ability thought this is pretty like Phoenix's wall. The second ability for Neon, of course, is the stun grenade, I'm going to call it. It's a relay bolt here, and obviously a stun and a flash, they are somewhat different, but of course the idea is that they are kind of an initiator ability. So we can say that basically both agents on their two abilities that they purchase have one kind of controller ability that denies line of sight, and they have one, kind of initiator ability in a stun or a flash for Phoenix. Then when we come to the ultimates, I mean, all duelist ultimates are going to be somewhat similar. They're all about the ability to try and get extra kills. That's kind of, what the whole duelist space is. So the ultimates are always going to be, fulfilling a similar purpose. You could say that they are a bit different because, of course, Phoenix's is, an extra life in a sense, whereas Neon's is more like a Jet ultimate. It's kind of an extra weapon instead that allows you to get kills. So I will admit that there are some differences, but, all duelist ultimates are kind of lumped in the same, so I'm not going to really complain too much about that. And then obviously the signature spells as well, signature abilities of the agents as well are pretty different as well. The slide from Neon is quite different, and the high speed from Neon is quite different to Phoenix's hot hands, and, this is more of a area of denial, AoE effect, whereas Neon's is obviously more of a kind of unique mobility effect. So there are some differences there overall, but I do think that they are similar enough to where they mostly will be played as second duelists, kind of do-it-all duelists. They have that sort of controller effect, they have an initiate effect, and they have some duelist potential as well. So they've kind of always been seen, I think, Phoenix has always been seen as a second duelist, and I think much is going to be said the same of Neon, that she is often going to be a second duelist on certain maps. And so I'm sure that some of you are pretty worried for our boy Phoenix, but, you might be thinking, well, what's really the problem? If they're, kind of similar, who really cares? If Phoenix isn't getting picked, which he isn't at the moment, they'll buff Phoenix and then he'll be fine. But I think the problem becomes that if you do buff Phoenix, and for instance, let's say that Phoenix became one of the best agents in the game, then there becomes no reason to play Neon instead. And so eventually, basically, whoever is just the better of the two agents between these two is just going to get picked, and the other one isn't ever going to get picked because there is just a superior version of an agent that does similar things. And that's why it's very important for them most of the time to try and find, new innovative ways to keep agents separate. And I think that these two agents are just similar enough to where one of them is going to struggle. Whichever one people decide is the better one, that's the one that's going to get played more than the other one. No matter which, if you buff one or nerf another, it doesn't matter. One of them will get picked and the other one will get left behind because they're both sharing that similar space. And so that is my problem with Neon. It's got nothing to really do with her as of yet. Of course, she could be absolutely broken. I don't know. But we'll find out, I guess, in time. But I am very concerned for Phoenix in particular because I don't know how he could ever really see play, even if they do buff him. But if they then did buff him so much, then I don't know how Neon would see play either. So it's kind of a, an awkward situation. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd be very interested to see if you agree, if you think, that there are some places maybe that they could change Phoenix in, and maybe that would allow him to be more viable and coexist alongside Neon. Very interested to hear your thoughts on this matter as well. But with that said, thanks for watching and have a really nice day.